This video is a quick explanation about what I'm looking for when I ask for independent writing for our students who are at the emergent literacy level. Hopefully this will help. It might not be exactly what we normally think of as writing. I'm going to be referencing this book by Karen.Congram and David Koppenhaver just to let you know that this information does come from extensive research and that it does work if you use this approach over time to improve literacy of students who have traditionally not learned the same way in school. The students in our emergent literacy class at our school generally do not yet have the full comprehension of the letters of the alphabet and the conventions of writing, and therefore we need to go back and review some of those foundations of literacy. And often that just involves exploring and playing around with letters and playing around with different ways to write those letters. So we're very much supporting exploration and not criticizing things that maybe looks like it's being done wrong. So that's kind of the overall philosophy of emergent writing. Most of our students have had extensive experience exploring writing with pens, pencils, markers, etc. And if they enjoy doing that, I encourage you to encourage them to keep doing that. And of course this would be with paper, but maybe there's different kinds of paper you could use. Some of our students are not physically able to hold on to a writing utensil, or they're not able physically to see the surface that they're writing on. So we have some significant disabilities where we know for sure we're going to need to try to use different ways of writing. But the ones who can use a pencil and just really don't enjoy it for whatever reason, this is a great opportunity to explore different ways of writing and to show how much you also enjoy writing in different ways and putting letters together to make words. So hopefully you'll get a few ideas from this. These additional writing tools also involve the need to be able to hold on to the tool, or in some cases to use your own finger as the tool. For some kids, it's a very slight difference between holding on to a pencil and using your finger to work with absolute board and write the letters with your finger. For some, that's just a simple change that makes all the difference. And it's also fun to play around with. So Absolute Board, I'm starting at the bottom there, is an app that you can get for free. And you can change the background color and the pencil color. And you can use a stylus, but most of our students just use your fingers. And you can add photos if you want to. I tend to use it just like a whiteboard. I tend to put black as the background because it's easier if you don't have the bright light in your eyes when you're working with the screen, and then use your light or bright colors as the text. You could also play around with painting, sidewalk chalk, dry erase markers, whiteboards. Sometimes the novelty of being able to use something different makes writing more fun. Window markers are great if you're not worried about the behavior continuing with the wrong kind of markers. Sometimes the vertical surface is a nice change for students who don't like to sit at a desk and write on a table. You can also experiment with different angles of surfaces, like putting a pillow under a clipboard or a big book and then the paper on top. So the positioning of how you are writing often makes a difference for the enjoyment of writing and the motivation and engagement. So play around with that. You don't have to use all of these ideas, of course, but if you see one there that might work in your situation, give it a try. For students who do not like or have trouble holding onto a writing tool in their hand, alphabet sets are great. You'll see a lot of suggestions using alphabet sets in the alphabet work part of literacy. And it's also just something fun to play around with when you're kind of bored with writing. So for those who have them at home, you can use fridge magnets or flashcards, or you can look for any games you might have in the house with letters in them, like Scrabble or Boggle, and use them, or blocks. Some people still have little blocks, wooden blocks with letters on. Anything where you can have access to every single letter in the alphabet. So you're going to want all 26 letters. And if you have some extras, that's great too. If you don't have that, it's super easy just to cut up some paper and write the letters on them, or take some recipe cards and do the same because it's just a little more durable. If your student or child has the Word Wizard app on their iPad already, that would be a great thing to check out for alphabet work and possibly also for writing. And there's various old and new technology where you can have access to the alphabet as well. Just throwing that out there because sometimes might be a student who really has fun with a label maker gadget, and because of the novelty of that, that's a great way for them to write. So whatever works is what you want to try using. There are so many different kinds of keyboards out there. So if the student you're working with really enjoys typing, then that's a great form of writing to support. There's the typical keyboards are QWERTY keyboards in keys arranged in a traditional order. There are also keyboards, if you look at different software, where you can find it arranged in alphabetical order, or the Abilipad app on the iPad, which some people might have if you've got a device from the school. If you're interested in that, please let me know. I can tell you more, but it has all kinds of custom keyboards. Some of them show you just 4 or 5 letters at a time, so you don't have this big, huge array of letters to have to choose from. So it's really going to depend on what works best for that student. AAC software is short form for Augmentative and Alternative Communication. So if you have a child or student who uses speech generating device, which could be like an iPad with Proloquo, or it could be an auditory scanner. There's all kinds of different devices now that have text that produces speech. So there's various software there, and hopefully check and see that you have access to a keyboard on that software. And it could be, maybe it's not called a keyboard, but it could be a page with all the letters of the alphabet. Lastly, for some students, they will be using partner-assisted scanning with a book with alphabet in it. So that's a very specific type of technique for students who are physically not able to manipulate letter tiles, alphabet sets, or any kind of writing tool.